The Dallas Stars are proving they're a better team than the Vegas Golden Knights game after game. Can they do it one more time and send themselves to the second round? Let's catch up on the farm, as the Stars aren't the only team having playoff success, and a look around the NHL and the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs as a whole. That's next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Happy Thursday, Stars fans. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Hopefully you're celebrating a Game 5 win for the Dallas Stars as they took down the Vegas Golden Knights by a final score of 3-2, and now have a chance to clinch the series tomorrow night with a win in Vegas. We do have a puck drop time for game number 6, in case you have not heard as of yet. 9 o'clock Central Standard Time is the puck drop. So another late one, but it shouldn't be too terrible on a Friday night. The Canucks and Predators have the early game for their game number 6, which we'll take a look around the NHL in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs today as well. I'll show you my bracket that I put together. So far, so good. I have hit on every single matchup, except with a few exceptions to the amount of games and all that. But hey, I'm going to take my wins where I can get them. We'll also catch up down on the farm, because the Idaho Steelheads and the Texas Stars have each won their first round of their playoff series. So some good stuff throughout the organization in general. But of course, we're going to start with the Dallas Stars, and they're tasked with now winning the final game of this first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is usually the toughest, trying to put a team away. And I think there has to be a lot of motivation in the fact that Vegas sent the Stars packing in 6 games and finished it off on home ice a year ago. And now the Stars have the opportunity to do the same thing. Go into Vegas, where they've been an incredible road team all year long, and put the nail in the coffin. Can they rise to the occasion and close it out? You're going to get Vegas's best shot. It's been real interesting over the 5 games in this series. I feel like the Stars have gotten better, and Vegas has sort of regressed in a lot of ways. What was scary about the first 2 games that Vegas won was they didn't particularly play better than Dallas or looked like a dominant team, so to speak, and they still won. And you're thinking, wow, this isn't the best version of Vegas we thought at the time. This is going to be a dogfight, but it has certainly been turned on its head with Dallas now winning 3 in a row. And there are some numbers which I find are kind of telling the story here through 5 games between Vegas and Dallas. So the expected goals, 20.27 to 12.46 in favor of Dallas. That's around 62%. Scoring chances, this is big. Of course, you look back to game 3 when Dallas outchanced Vegas after 2 periods, 36-12. The scoring chances in the series, 178 to 119. 60% there in favor of Dallas. High danger chances, and it even gets a bit larger, 81-43. That's 65% in favor of Dallas. So the Stars, in a lot of ways, are dominating the Vegas Golden Knights in terms of scoring chances, and their ability to defend at a very high level. And this comes from Sinbin Vegas is a wonderful follow too. If you just want to hear the Vegas side of things, and he says you almost have to be feeling lucky if you're Vegas to even be in the series, because of course taking the first 2 games on the road helped their case, but Dallas has been extremely good here down the stretch. And I did mention this post game number 5 here yesterday, but I want to reiterate it because I think it really embodies what Dallas has been trying to find, and now they're getting it. And we're seeing a lot of what Vegas did so well a year ago against the Stars, and it feels like Dallas is sort of giving them a taste of their own medicine in that third period of game 5, which I thought was a clinical defensive performance from Dallas, much better than we saw in game 4. They were pushing a bit more. They kept Vegas at bay and weren't really swimming as much. They had to get some excellent defensive efforts. They had to block a lot more shots in game 4, but they really forced Vegas to have to travel 200 feet. And if you look at the expected goals against at 5-on-5 in that third period here of game 5, and this is when you're going to get a heavy dose of Jack Eichel, a heavy dose of Marchessault, and you're going to get their best push. 0.58. 0.58 is the expected goals against. For Vegas was 0.62. So at 5-on-5, the Stars were a better team offensively, trying to hold on to a lead. I think that really is starting to show the growth of the Stars from game 1 to now. What is it? Game 88 or whatever. Math is hard. I went to St. Cloud State. Remember? I'll reiterate that too. That's not a stray at my alma mater. Okay. I love the Huskies. Anyways, we're starting to see the growth and the ability for Dallas to just absolutely shut things down, which they did not have that capability for the first 2-3 months of the season. We mentioned it a lot. They were outscoring their problems for a month there. They averaged about 4 goals a game, and Otter wasn't particularly good. Wedgwood was giving you a heck of a fight, but it wasn't like he was holding opponents to, under 2 goals a game. The offense just really showed through. And then you have the acquisition of Tanev, and now you're just playing this rotation of 5D, which are just all in sync. Everybody's playing with everybody. And we also need to credit Pete DeBoer. He was outcoached in the Western Conference Final a year ago. He was outcoached by Bruce Cassidy. He's stepped up to the challenge, and he's been phenomenal. A huge credit to Pete DeBoer. A huge credit. And there were some decisions in game 3 that I was a bit concerned about, but hey, maybe Pete DeBoer's pretty damn good at this thing. And he certainly is. Stars have never lost 3 games in a row in regulation with him at the helm. And look, I know there's a lot of history that says otherwise with some of his stints in places where usually year 1 goes good, and then after that it kind of fizzles. But Dallas has looked the best they've had for 2 consecutive years in like 2 decades. So there's something to be said for that. And DeBoer is surrounded by a great group. There is no question about that. He is reaping the benefits of the Stars front office drafting really, really well. Also going out to get a Pavelski, and even the addition of Suter, which I know threw a lot of people up in the air, but he's been fantastic, okay? He's been phenomenal. Especially here against, he's been good all year, okay? Let's just throw that out there. And you could also say when he left Vegas, they lost the most amount of man games when he was there towards the end of his career. And credit to Cassidy too. He came in and he got the job done. But, there's context to these situations, but Pete DeBoer has put on a show here. I feel like in the first round, coaching really, really matters at this time of year. And you have to execute, and you have to get that big save from Jake Ottinger like you did on Stevenson on the breakaway late in game 5. You have to have those moments, and your players have to execute at the end of the day. But there can be a lot of said for the adjustments that Dallas has made, and they didn't overreact to the first 2 games. I think that's the biggest. They didn't overreact. And Matt Duchene spoke about it after game 5 that it was a daunting task going into Vegas. It wasn't a great feeling having to figure out a way to just get back in a series going into Vegas, a really tough atmosphere. But they just buckled down and they went about their business, and that's what they continue to do. They just go about their business, and they're never too high, too low. And look, that's what Pete DeBoer, probably a lot of his job revolves around, is handling the emotions of a series. Me and a lot of other people that watch the Stars on a daily basis are up and down. It's the end of the world. Oh, they're the best team ever. And it's really hard to just stay even keeled a lot. And I bet to some degree it is for the Stars. Look, they've won 3 in a row, but look, there's a lot that still needs to be handled here. You need to try to finish this in 6. You don't even want to mess with it in 7 games. Finish it off in 6, send them home, and you move on to Colorado. That's what you're hoping for. And game 6 going to be a doozy, which they usually are. Very, very, very happy with where the Stars stand, because 6 days ago, this didn't feel like it could become a reality, and it is. And that's what's so awesome about the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. And a reason to be happy that they're 7-game series. Some teams need to prove that they're a better team by the end of the series. And Dallas, now after 5 games, is the better team. Doesn't mean they get a pass to the second round, but through 5, they're the better team, and they've been excellent and pretty lights out performances in 4 and 5. So we'll see if they can replicate it in game 6. 9:00 puck drop again on Friday night. Another late one. We got a couple of game 6 games between the Canucks, Preds, and then the Stars Knights here for the nightcap. So exciting stuff for the Dallas Stars in the first round. Speaking of exciting stuff, the Texas Stars and Idaho Steelheads are also in the midst of a playoff run, and they won the first round of their playoffs. So let's have an update down on the farm and celebrate the AHL and ECHL boys. Why not? We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Monopoly Go. All right, game off. We got to pause here to talk about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You've already talked about that. Hey, don't come at me. There's so much great stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you can work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. Take the 30 seconds, grab your smartphone like I have here. Look at Mira Heiskanen. I bet he plays Monopoly Go. Maybe not. He's probably busy at this time of year. But download Monopoly Go. It's free on the Apple Store or Google Play Store, and there's so much to get. You got new playing pieces that you can travel the boards with. You can smash your friends' buildings, heist their vaults, take all their money. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events to help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frisbees. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench, go and download it. It's free on the Google Play Store or Apple Play Store. Game on. Hey, Stars fans, be sure to check out Locked On Sports today as well. It's the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. It is on YouTube, also available on the free Amazon TV channels app. Be sure to subscribe to Locked On Stars, hit that notification bell. We're over 2,500 subscribers. I have forgot to mention that, but we hit it overnight last night. Over 2,500 subscribers. The growth has been insane, and that's all thanks to you, Stars fans. So thank you so much. You can follow me on Joey the Jet 19 on Twitter and Locked On Stars. So thank you guys so much. The growth has been insane, and Dallas is a hockey town. Dallas is a hockey town, and this podcast proves it. Okay, with all the wonderful support you have shown me and the engagement throughout this entire year, not just the last month. The entire season has been phenomenal. Anyways, taking a look at the Texas Stars down in the AHL, they took down their first round opponents and are starting their second round series here tonight. And Liam Bichsel is expected to take the ice in Cedar Park. So some excitement there. I mentioned it, I feel like yesterday, maybe it was a few days ago. Liam Bichsel has now returned to North America. I know the Texas Stars threw out some photos of Bichsel. God, he looks ginormous. He's huge. I feel like he's gotten bigger. I was like, I need him up with the big club. And I'm just getting ahead of myself here, but I just saw a picture. Like, this guy's gigantic. Can't wait to see what he's going to produce here in the near future. But they're taking on the Milwaukee Admirals, which is the AHL affiliate of the Nashville Predators. I want to say they won the Central Division in the AHL. They went on a huge run. I think they won 16 games at one point. Pretty incredible run in the middle of the year. So the Stars will have a tough task at hand, but they were able to dispatch their first round opponent. And good luck to the Texas Stars, who begin their second round series here tonight. Hopefully they pick up a few wins against Milwaukee. You know, Maverick Bourque has pretty much been the story for Texas this season. He's been off to a great start, that's for sure. And if you look at the, trying to get the regular season here, Central Division, Milwaukee won it. They were 47-22-3 on the year. They went on a very, very good run. But Texas took down Manitoba in the first round, and now they take on Milwaukee. So good luck to them, and be sure to check it out. AHL TV, get a look at Bichsel. I still need to watch some games of him. I haven't had the opportunity to really watch a ton from him besides the preseason. On the other hand, down in the ECHL, the Idaho Steelheads, they took care of a local team in the Metroplex, the Allen Americans, in the first round of the Kelly Cup. They begin their second round series on Saturday night against the Kansas City Mavericks. By the way, big shout out to Blackout Dallas. This article was written by Brian Sleet. Want to make sure I give him credit. They do great work. Just Dallas Stars coverage in general. So please give them a follow as well. But they're taking on the Kansas City Mavericks in the second round. And so far for the Steelheads, Ty Pelton-Bryce is the top scorer, difference maker, 3 goals and 9 assists going into the second round. Says he likes to set up his teammates before he's a scoring threat. So good luck to the Steelheads in their second round series. The Mavericks' top scorer is Patrick Curry. He finished the regular season. Wow, he lit it up. 39 goals, 48 assists. He has 5 points in the first round so far. So those are a few of the names that the Stars or the Steelheads have to be aware of to try to shut down in the second round. But great to see just the organization in general kind of breeding success. And we saw this last year with Texas making a deep run, and Idaho for that matter. Just it breeds winning That way, when players come up through the system, they get to the big club, they make it to the show, and it just becomes second nature to some degree. And it's sort of a culture, right? That the Dallas Stars just win now. It's expected. And that's a wonderful thing. So congratulations to Texas and Idaho. And look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I watch all their games or watch every single game. That's why I rely on the wonderful people like Blackout Dallas and 100 Hockey as well, which just covers the Texas Stars in general, which they're phenomenal follow too, just to get updates on the Texas Stars. But have to show them some love because they're doing well. We kind of have a day off where we can just kind of relax, soak everything in, and then we'll get back to dealing with the Vegas Golden Knights and the task at hand tomorrow. Would love to share some thoughts on the first round of the Stanley Cup play. Sort of been a snooze fest, if we're going to be completely honest. That's my opinion on it. There hasn't been a ton of great series. But we have some game sixes coming up, including tonight. I'll share my bracket as well, which don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm on fire so far. But at the same time, there wasn't a lot. The Eastern, some of the teams were just not very good. And there was no way they were getting past. Anyways, let's jump into some just playoff observations so far around the league, and we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. What are you waiting for? There's no better time to get in on the action while you're posted up on your couch watching the postseason action this year. Go ahead and bet on who's going to take home the Larry O'Brien Trophy, who's going to take home the Stanley Cup. How about the Mavericks winning Game 5? How about the Stars winning Game 5? The DFW Metroplex teams are on fire. By the way, shout out to the Rangers for sacrificing themselves yesterday to allow both the Mavs and Stars to win. If you know, you know. So go ahead. New customers, $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Sprinkle some money on the Mavs and Stars to win. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Alrighty, the moment you've all been waiting for to take a peek at my bracket. I have not made this public yet. I just wanted to keep it under wraps as I usually do. I like to thrive in secrecy. But yeah, here we go. My 2024 Stanley Cup playoff brackets. No surprise here. I have the Dallas Stars winning it all. I'm sorry, the download or whatever from the NHL website is garbage. Okay, I don't mean to be harsh with him, but I did the best I could. I know it may be a bit blurry, but here we go. I'll do the best to explain this too for listeners only as well. So far, so good. My Stars pick was looking very bleak in 6 games, but they have a chance to close it out on Friday night. Nailed Colorado in 5 games over Winnipeg. I've been Winnipeg's #1 hater all year. So that was pretty easy for me. Vancouver, I got Vancouver taking Nashville in 7 games. I thought that would just be kind of an intriguing series. And this was before all the goaltending catastrophe for Vancouver. With Dimko going down, and then DeSmith is a bit kind of banged up. So they're like on their 3rd string goalie. They have a chance to close it out on Friday too, but I have them in 7. I thought Edmonton was going to sweep LA. The Kings survived 1 game. Good night. Edmonton I feel like every first round last 3 years, they get like 20 power plays. And look, the officiating in general is, it's sometimes I wonder. Sometimes it's so soft, the officiating, and the Stars are no stranger to this. But like if you give Edmonton 17 power plays in a series, like it's lights out. You have no chance of winning. McDavid and Draisaitl are insane. You just have no chance of winning. I don't care how good you think your penalty kill is. If Edmonton gets 5 power plays a game or averages around 4 in a series, it's over. It's over. So they dispatched the Kings pretty quickly. Carolina, New York were pretty easy decisions. I had the sweep for New York, or actually had Washington winning a game. Unfortunately, it was a sweep. Had Carolina in 5 there, which was nice. I thought Florida and Tampa was going to go at least 7, but man, Florida's a scary team. And I have them getting knocked out next round to Boston. Hopefully Boston can clinch tonight. They take on Toronto. Boston just completely was inept in game number 5 at home. They have really struggled with these series clinching games dating back to last year. So hopefully they just finish it off tonight in 6. But woo, if the Leafs get to 7, which it probably will, it just seems like it's destined to go 7, that would be pretty remarkable. But not feeling the best about having Boston make it to the Eastern Conference Final after watching Florida. And I knew Florida was good, but I was just thinking, well, maybe Boston this year will push through after the disappointment of a season ago. I like Carolina. I like Carolina in 7 against New York. New York has a better goaltender in Shesterkin, but I said at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of the playoffs, I think Carolina, it's just kind of their year to push through with Gunsel, and they got a great back end, and they're just really talented. I have them making to the Cup Finals against Dallas here. I have Edmonton taking down Vancouver in the second round, and then Stars versus the NHL's face and Connor McDavid in the Western Conference Final. But so far so good on my picks. Some of the games aren't correct, but I feel pretty good. The first round in general, overall thoughts, kind of a snooze fest. I feel like there hasn't been a real intensity and I've watched a real intensity just in terms of like close series. Unfortunately, and no disrespect to Vancouver and Boston now, kind of getting a little hairy down the stretch, but it feels like Dallas and Vegas has been the only real one that has sort of had kind of like a back and forth affair in a lot of ways. And maybe that's a disservice to other teams just because I'm so locked in on one series. So show me some grace before you come after me in the comment section. But great stuff in general. The officiating, I think, is just sometimes I don't even know. But I will say this, most of the time it goes both ways. Most of the time it benefits one team or the other. But there are a lot of intriguing matchups moving forward. I mean, if the Stars pull through, I mean, Dallas versus Colorado, it's going to be, I think, going to be insane. It'll be the most chaotic 7-game series of my life. And that bubble series against Colorado was insane as well. So really intrigued to see what happens, because Nashville's a team too that, like, they're just they can provide fits because they have guys that have done it before, and with Vancouver still being kind of fresh to the scene, and now they're down to like their third string goaltender, it gets really dicey. So game 6 for them is going to be huge. It feels like if Nashville takes game 6, they may win the series, because just like all the pressure then kind of mounts. It's like, oh, now we had to go back home and we got to try to close out a team that's won a game. I'll be locked in on Bruins Maple Leafs tonight. I've watched a lot. I've watched a lot of that series just because I just love to see the Maple Leafs lose. So hoping that will be the case. And even then with Matthews being out and Nylander with that weird illness. Like, what is going on in Toronto? Marner played a Marner, Domi, and Bertuzzi. That line was so good in Game 5 in Boston. Marner was pretty non-existent for the most part in the series up to that point, but that line has been was a huge factor in Game 5. So yeah, Game 6 will be intriguing because Boston just can't seem to kind of close it out. They don't really have the knack for it. They only had 2 shots in that first period of Game 5. So yeah, that'll also be really, really interesting. But yeah, those are just some of my overwhelming thoughts of the first round. A lot of good hockey either way. The Capitals and Islanders just were really good teams. and the Islanders actually gave Carolina some good fits. They probably should have won at least 2 games. But the Hurricanes pulled out that like 4-goal comeback in the matter of like 8 seconds, which kind of hampered the fireworks in that series for the Islanders. But I'm hoping to have a perfect bracket. I can't do it, and I mean nobody can in March Madness. So if I can do it in the Stanley Cup playoffs, I will certainly take it. Dallas, Carolina is my Stanley Cup final. If I didn't say it, I got Dallas at Carolina, which I would love. I would have loved for that to be the case last year. So I'm kind of speaking that into existence here. I think would be a really, really fun series in the Stanley Cup final. But yeah, we'll see how many teams get beat up just trying to make it there. A lot of it's war of attrition. Stars have certainly dealt with some injuries here, but they've just kind of pushed right past them because depth. We've talked about it for an entire year now, and it's starting to bleed through. Alrighty, well that'll wrap up today's episode of Locked On Stars. Just a bit more of a laid back feel to today's episode. Not as much urgency. We'll get back to the urgency tomorrow, and hopefully Dallas can wrap up the first round against Vegas and move on to Colorado. Game 6 tomorrow night, 9 o'clock puck drop, probably like 9:20, 9:15-ish, whatever it is, in Vegas, in the Fortress. One more victory, and the Stars are moving on. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend as we approach. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.